Hi, and welcome to Rabbit Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I'll be doing a collective read today. Now, I took some time to ground because the energy in astrology for the last couple of days and even into last week has been pretty intense for me. But I'm doing a reading today to kind of maybe shed some light on what the collective, my beautiful luminaries, what you might have gone through in the past week, and also to discuss and to kind of look into the cards to see what is being brought forward for the Sagittarius blue full moon that we're going to have on May 31st. That's this Sunday. So, let's see what we have for, okay, so we've got, I'm going to give it the honor of looking at it. So Lotus, unfolding or unfoldment. And then we also have Horse, which is accepting help from others and delegating authority. So we're going to put this over here for last week. We'll do one more for last week. And then we have Owl, deception, but also wisdom. So what this feels like, collective, it feels like you may or may not have to, you may or may not have, why am I so mixed up in my words right now? You may or may not have had to tap someone's shoulder to help gain clarity in a situation that may have felt really foggy, maybe felt like the wool was being pulled over your eyes, and to gain clarity and wisdom. And what it feels like is something ended up unfolding naturally. Like you, collective, may have wanted to do the research to really understand where someone might have been coming from, a scenario, a situation. But with all the research you might have been doing, with all the, hey, can you give me advice on this to people that you might have asked, ultimately it unfolded on its own naturally. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what archetypes and or what personality traits were being displayed last week and earlier this week. Okay, show me what the collective and maybe those around them, personality traits wise, what was surrounding the energy earlier this week and last week before we get into the full moon energy. Let's do 3. Okay, so what we have first came out was, oh boy, drunkard, alcoholism, addiction, avoidance, abuse. So someone might have been deep in their cups last week. It may have been because of stress. It could be maybe they battle with some sort of a substance abuse issue. It could have been a way to avoid what was going on in their life. But, it doesn't have to be drink. It could be someone who is basically flooding their system to avoid whatever it is that they need to deal with. Then we have soldier, which is loyalty, honor, integrity, and selfless service. I almost get the inclination that somebody who is, as I say, deep in their cups, maybe taking on a lot of work, or maybe drinking to forget, or to not deal with something that has come to pass, whatever unfolded here. And the reason why that happened, why this person is so trying to drown themselves in work, or maybe drink away their feelings, or maybe even involve themselves in other people's drama to not view their own or to see their own, is because whatever unfolded, it kind of threw into question their standing, their loyalty, how committed are you to a thing, right? Then we have the next card, and we have betrayal, deceit, disloyalty, and broken bonds. So yes, that's exactly what happened. If it sounds like your story, this might be it. But if it doesn't sound like you, this part of the reading is not for you. But this is for somebody who in the last week has maybe tried to tap different people's shoulders. Maybe you did research, like psychology research. Maybe you even used Chat GPT to kind of help navigate a situation about trying to figure out whether or not someone was being truthful, whether or not someone was, what they said was actually what they meant. trying to gain clarity from that. And ultimately, through this research, through the time that you spent focusing on that, it actually just unfolded the way it was going to. And whatever answer you were looking for did come. And it almost feels like the opposite side of the energy is like dealing with the fact that whatever unfolded, whatever secret or fact or situation unfolded, it caused them to stress the hell out. And they're like, maybe they got deep in their cups, like I said, or they started working really, really hard and overworking, so they didn't have to deal with whatever it was that unfolded. And the reason why they're doing that is because they felt like they failed to protect or failed to keep safe, or they failed like to show loyalty, to show love, to show I'm here for you. And they feel that it feels like not that they actually betrayed someone, but that the perception of them is like they betrayed their trust, or like saying, you know, I'll be there for you, I'll pick you up, but they never show up. Something like that. It's a little bit it's a little bit foggy on this side. Like this side seems very clear. If it does, it feels very, very clear. But over here, it feels like they've got a lot of feelings going on. Okay, so let's get some tarot, because the energy last week was very strong. Oop, there's a title card. Let me take that one out. The energy last week was very strong. Apparently we had a lot of squares going on. Again, I am learning astrology, and I read it day to day. And it seemed like there was a lot of squares going on, especially with fixed signs like Aquarius and Taurus. So let's see for this side. Tell me more about what happened last week and earlier this week. Tell me more. Okay. Tell me more about what happened last week and what happened earlier this week. All right. So what we're being shown here right now is the Nine of Pentacles in the center position. So this makes me feel like this is the most important card right now, and it's under unfolding. So whatever information you found out, whatever fact was brought to light, whatever clarity that you gained, helped you feel like more empowered, made you feel more sovereign, made you feel like, you know, I'm actually in control of my life and how things play out. I choose and decide how I react to whatever unfolded. I'm standing in my power. That's what that feels like. So over here, what do we have? We have Four of Pentacles. Ooh, I love this. So this is like before you get to this point, how you got to this point of sovereignty, how you got to this point of standing in your power and understanding that no matter what happens, you are going to be okay because you are the grand maestro of your destiny. It first started with you drawing some boundaries, protecting your peace. That doesn't mean isolation. This Four of Pentacles doesn't mean isolation, but it does mean protection. I do feel like for those in my little community here, my luminaries, you pulled back your energy and you said, look, I did this research, you know, I'm getting some perspective. I tapped people's shoulders. Maybe I used Gemini, or I read a psychology article, or whatever it is. You need to gain clarity. And after that, you're like, okay, mainly what I'm getting from this is I just need to pull back my energy and protect my peace, because however this is going to unfold is meant to unfold the way it's going to. I just need to understand that I am the maestro of my own destiny. I can handle whatever gets thrown at me. Even if it's hard, I know I will stand. I know I can survive. I know I believe in myself. And you've created that boundary and pulled your energy back. So what do we have here? High Priestess. Yes, you let your intuition guide you. Your intuition was telling you that maybe something was off. Your intuition was telling you need to, I heard sit in your silence. And that doesn't mean that you weren't talking to people, that you were isolating. Like I said, you weren't isolating. The pulling back of the energy was sovereign silence. So this has to do with communication. Whatever unfolded feels like a conversation that was had or had in the past, or you just had. Whatever clarity you gained, it came from drawing healthy boundaries, removing your energy and being like, okay, well, this situation is taking a lot from me right now, so I'm going to pull my energy back and remember that I have the power to write my reality. I decide how I'm going to react to things. And in this moment, I'm not only pulling back my energy, but I'm sitting in my sovereign silence and just witnessing how things unfold. Witnessing the fact that whatever I feel, this high priestess is making me feel like you knew something was going to come to pass, and you slowly saw it unfold. I just heard also unravel. So if that makes sense for you. So let's get some cards on this side. So what happened on this other side here? I'll get one more. All right, so we have the King of Pentacles, the Five of Cups in reverse, and the Star. Okay, so this person is an earth sign. King of Pentacles, it could be, Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. Five of Cups is about focusing on something that has ended, not realizing that there is the possibility for new happiness or other avenues of happiness. The Star card is about hopes, dreams, wishes, and healing. Now, in context to what we have here, this makes me feel like a very solid person, someone who is either A, an earth sign, or B, someone who is just very steady. And I don't want to say predictable because that sounds like a dig, but someone who has a routine. There's a way of life that they kind of exist in. There's a way that they appear to people. And there's something about this predictability, or this is how people know, is both a bane and a boon to them. Like, people know who they are. They know their work ethic. They know the caliber of person they are. But it also means that because I feel like, are exhibiting this earth energy, it also is telling me that they might be stuck in the mud with something. Now, it could be this deep in the cups energy, this overworking energy, this doing anything to distract from whatever they are avoiding. Or it could be, not so great cycles. With the Soldier card, with loyalty and honor and integrity, and the Five of Cups. So this grounded person, this earth sign like person, you could be Sun, Moon, Rising, or Stellium, or you could just be a very steady person with a routine. So there's some good parts to this person's routine, and there may be some residual cycles that continue to happen. They're kind of a little bit stuck in the mud, but people look upon them well, which is why whatever has happened here has affected them so much. Something that they're not proud of has taken place, and they were focusing on how whatever it was broke ties with someone or took away an opportunity, painted them in a bad light, and they know that there's an opportunity to fix it, but they're not really sure how. Star card is, under the betrayal, is they want to change whatever they're stuck in the mud about. They don't want to be stuck in the mud. They know they can change it, but they're not sure how. But they're focusing really hard on this North Star energy. Whatever transpired between these two sides, they're aware that it makes them look and feel bad. They're aware that there is a chance to fix whatever happened, but they don't know how. But their focus is on this energy Also, this energy may involve an Aquarius because the star card is Aquarius, or an air sign. Okay, so let's see. What's the advice from Spirit from this past week and from last week to this early part of this week? Okay, we got 3 of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, and Temperance. Sometimes the lessons that we learn with this 3 of Swords energy, this painful lesson, that looks like it was a painful lesson on both sides, to be honest. But one in this painful lesson experienced the pain and found their inner strength and found their sovereignty to build healthy boundaries. On this side, this pain that was endured helped them recognize where they might have been stuck in the mud. And they know they can fix it. They're just not sure how yet, but their focus is on healing. The 3 of Swords is, yes, about hurt and disappointment and heartache, but it's also about resiliency. It's being able to persevere through some of the toughest times and take those lessons to heart. 2 of Pentacles is, for both sides, how are these 2 individuals, or how are these 2 energies, how are they going to navigate this? How are they going to come to some accord? Spirit is saying the way you balance this out is to make sure that both sides are both heard, seen, and validated. There's pain here, there's pain here. These 2 sides, whatever the relationship is, whether it is romantic relationship, familial relationship, work opportunity, coworkers, best friends, there is some sort of miscommunication or misunderstanding, and there's pain on both sides. Spirit is saying, you're resilient. You went through this pain for a reason, to learn how to balance together. Are you going to take the road that's difficult but yields growth and change, or are we going to choose a road where in the past we've done, certain maybe less than ideal things, like maybe let this conflict sever this tie? So you can let this conflict or this misunderstanding or whatever has happened here, you would know, let it cut this tie, or do the hard thing and compromise. Find the balance between. Both sides need to see the other's pain and handle it with respect and gentleness, and also recognize their own pain and hold a mirror up to themselves to be like, how does my own pain make me react to this? How does my own pain react to that? Spirit is saying, you went through this for a reason. Which road are you going to take? Because the one that leads to a happier situation is one in which you find balance. So that's for earlier this week. I'm kind of doing like a catch-up reading because of the fact that I didn't do one last week. So that's the first reading we have. So give me a second while I get the cards together. And we'll do one for this weekend. So again, this weekend, May 31st, the full moon is in Sagittarius, and it's a full blue moon, which means it's the second full moon in the month. If I remember correctly, there is only one blue moon a year. I could be wrong. I'm still learning astrology. But it is in the sign of Sagittarius. So if you have Sagittarius in your chart, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising, or a stellium, that's sitting right on top of your sign and may impact you a little bit more profoundly than, say, someone who is an Aries or a Leo or any other sign in the zodiac. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. For this Sunday, the 31st, what energy is the collective, my luminaries? What do they expect to experience at that time? Oh, hold on just a second. Let me make sure this is still recording, because sometimes it decides not to. Okay, we're still good. All right, so let's see. What are my beautiful luminaries maybe going to experience this weekend? All right, so we have We have ebb and flow as the middle one, and this was the first, and this is the second one. So again, because this is the only one that came up that we can see, I feel like this might be the main point of this weekend. Ebb and flow. What I get from this ebb and flow, pardon me for shaking the table. What I get from this ebb and flow energy is sometimes you have to kind of move with the energy. I mean, be like water. Adapt. Understand that the tides are always changing. That way, oh, I just heard, this is a temporary feeling. I won't always feel this way. So there might be some discomfort this weekend. It doesn't feel like incredibly intense energy, but there might be a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of awkwardness maybe. But for some reason I'm hearing like go with the flow, adapt, move, take shape like water, because it's leading you to where you're supposed to be. Okay, so let's see, the next card we have is DNA or karma. Okay. And then we have solitude. For some, especially after that first part of the reading, for some this might be, and I know you likely hear it a lot on other tarot channels as well as astrology channels, with the full moon, it's about the completion of cycles. Yes, full moons are that. However, because this last week and a half energetically has been so intense, like I can't be the only one, has been so intense that this particular full moon, this particular Sagittarius blue moon specifically, is really closing out a big karmic cycle. So much so that I just heard it's like entering a new life. Not quite hitting the reset button, because it's not a do-over. It is, now that we've closed out a certain pattern, a certain cycle, a certain way of thinking so completely, stepping forward will feel new. Now, of course, when we close cycles, it is about new beginnings, because what's that song? Oh gosh, I'm hearing closing time. It's that lyric that says, every new beginning is some other new beginning's end. So, this feeling, this closing time is necessary. If this is your reading, you would have resonated probably with the first half of this reading. But if you didn't watch the first half, essentially there has been really big energy this last week and a half. And I'm not talking about just having a one-off day. I mean, it feels like day after day after day, there's some challenge, there's some roadblock. It feels like you feel maybe disjointed, or a little bit anxiety, or like something that is not quite feeling right. Maybe communication feels strained, or there's more misunderstandings, or there's little, what do you call them? Like little fights. That's not the word I want to use, but tiffs here and there. It feels tight. It feels ill-fitting, and being told the reason why is because if you imagine someone trying to shake themselves or squeeze themselves out of ill-fitting clothes, or like something that's weighing them down, they're like trying to shimmy their way out of something that is uncomfortable. The reason why this last week or so has felt uncomfortable is collectively we are literally trying to shimmy and shake our way out of sorry, I was about to swear. Out of stuff that no longer fits us. And in a big way. And again, I'm not talking about like little habits. I'm talking about habits and cycles and things that we've carried with us, other people's opinions that we've carried with us that cause us to question our own value. You know, the way we show up in relationships, the way we allow to be treated at work, the way we silence or shrink ourselves in the face of someone who is more important than us. We are literally like squirming to get out of ill-fitting clothes so that we can move into something that is more authentic. That's what this feels like this weekend with the full blue moon in Sagittarius. But part of it, that's ebb and flow, is when you feel that discomfort, and this is the part that I don't like, but I will tell you because it's what I intuitively, that's what I feel, is sometimes you have to sit in that discomfort. Don't immediately try to make yourself comfortable by like, okay, well, I'm feeling like, what do? I feel like a loss of control, or I'm feeling a little pang of anxiety. Let me doom scroll, or let me, busy myself with work. Sometimes you just got to sit in that feeling for like at least 10 or 15 minutes and be like, why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this? Write it down. Think about where it's coming from, where it's stemming from. Where's the anxiety, like, in your body? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your back? And then do something grounding, like go into the garden, or have a nice meal. Take a salt bath. There's something about sitting with the energy and then moving out of the energy, and then sitting in the energy and moving out of the energy, allowing yourself to feel that fluctuation. And with this last card, this solitude, I do feel like some meditation time, some alone time, some me time is absolutely required this weekend. It does feel that way. So, having said all of that, let's move into what energy or what characteristics might be surrounding the collective, our beautiful luminaries this weekend, moving towards that full blue moon in Sagittarius. Okay, all right. So we have learner, seeker of knowledge, progress, explorer, aspirant, inquisitive. I just said, why am I feeling this way? Where is it coming from? I do feel like part of this breaking of like patterns, habits, opinions, thoughts that are not our own, but that we allow to, dictate to us our value. We're learning to be more authentic to ourselves, to be kinder to ourselves, and to kind of shake off the things that we're carrying with us that aren't ours. There is this, I've heard it before, it's not mine, but I've heard it before, where the voices that we hear in our heads that are telling us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, that we would never succeed, are not our voices. It's the voices of all the ungenerous people who have ever tried and passed judgment on us, and that we held on to that. We held on to it for so long that for some reason it started becoming our voice, but it isn't. It's just recordings of past ungenerous people who tried to keep you small when really you're meant to fly. So there's this thing about learning, about growing, about not just saying, I do feel anxious or sad or worried or concerned or just feeling not centered, but learning how to move through that feeling, how to honor that feeling, respect that feeling, feel that feeling, and then move out of it and not stay stuck in that feeling. Then we got, again, soldier. Okay, so some of you may have been in the service. Some of you may have either served before or have a family that served, or you're very patriotic, or you're a veteran. But the soldier card has come up again about loyalty, honor, integrity. And in this case, in this particular moment with the full moon in Sagittarius, the full blue moon in Sagittarius, I do feel like it's about for yourself. And these things that you need to let go of or learn to like shake off you and squirm your way out of are things that you already know. I often say this in my readings, but it's that moment where you recognize your tendency to be quiet when you so desperately want to say your opinion. That moment when you take a step back so that other people can have the opportunity, when you desperately want to be the one to get that job. It's something that you know, And I think that's the difference about this full moon. This change, this thing, the cycle that we're breaking is not some unknown cycle that you come to an aha moment this weekend. No, this is something that has existed for a long time. It's just now, it's really kind of brought front and center. It's time to protect yourself, be loyal to yourself, honor yourself, and start living like you love yourself. Then we've got Madman, Frenzy, Chaos, Unruly, Possession. I do feel like this is that cycle that we're trying to get out of here. Now, it's a little dramatic, this card, but it is about like the chaos of old cycles, those moments of anxiety or maybe even anger because of past cycles. This really, really, really feels, oh, I just heard. So, hold on. Let me ground a little bit. When I was saying that this is not something that you had a aha moment in the last week and then this weekend you're just going to clear it out. No, this is something that you've known that might have made someone upset. And I'm sorry, I'm not here to like make you upset. I'm just saying what the cards say. But in that energy like ping that I just felt, maybe anger is part of the cycle. Maybe when there's conversations, maybe there's a flare of anger and then a shutdown and an avoidance to deal with the cycle you know is in place, the habits you know that are in place, the behaviors that you know are in place, that in quiet times by yourself, maybe you're like, why am I like this? The Sagittarian blue moon is not asking you to have that, well, I mean, I guess it could be, but it feels like it's not focused on the aha moments of, oh, I understand this cycle. It's asking you, you know, because it's Sagittarius, it's about truth, it's about balance. You know what needs to be cut away or to like shimmy and squirm out of these ill-fitting clothes or this cycle or this expectation because your authentic self is waiting on the other side. A truer version of you is waiting on the other side. So having said all that, let's get some cards. Okay, we'll take it. It volunteered. So we have 8 of Cups. This is about walking away from something that doesn't serve you and walking towards the sun. Walking, whatever this means for you, collective, my luminaries, you would know because you already know what this is. It's walking away from chaos, anxiety, anger, unhealthy habits, thought patterns, opinions, cycles, the way you shrink yourself, and walking towards something beautiful, authentic, freeing. Underneath the karma of this situation isn't the karmic lesson, it is the karmic freedom. You're not going through this moment, this maybe dark night of the soul or a spiritual awakening or having like a deep, why am I like this moment? Because karma is trying to punish you. No, karma is trying to free you, is trying to push you towards or guide you towards or navigate you towards your highest good. And you can feel it. Tell me more about this weekend and this full moon energy. So we have the Star in reverse. So, and this is under the ebb and flow. This feels like it's really kind of difficult for me to say this because in one card we have the feeling of walking away from something to move towards something better, healthier, more in alignment. But then we have this card, the Star card in reverse, which makes me feel like there is a I keep seeing, if you know, in marine life, like in the ocean, there are the coral reefs, and there are those sea anemones that like look like little like purple or pink fingers, and they're like this. But if something gets close to them, they go, and then they like close up. It feels like that. It's like the idea of walking away towards something good is what you want to do, but when confronted with the feelings, it's like there's almost like a clam up energy. This makes me feel like you've tried to close this cycle before. And that would explain ebb and flow. I want to reach there. I want to get there. I want to be a better version of myself. This is hard. I don't know if I can do it. It's really difficult. It's really taxing. It's very emotional. I'm not used to being vulnerable. Oh, that is a lot. Okay. Then we have Knight of Wands. Interesting that it's under solitude. So we have energy of wanting to walk towards something new, leaving behind the old cycles. We have the Star in reverses. I feel like there's this kind of hesitating energy, kind of like a tentative. I know that this is going to be a big endeavor, that this is going to be difficult. It might require me to be very vulnerable. But something about in meditation, I feel like this Knight of Wands energy is saying, I need to do this. Like the fire inside is so strong. You might be a fire sign, especially with the full moon being a Sagittarius. And I said at the beginning of this reading, if you are a Sagittarius or a fire sign, this is going to probably ring a little bit closer for you, a little closer to the heart. In this meditative space, even though in one instant you could be like, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to move towards, but I'm a little nervous, I'm a little scared, I'm pulling in a little bit of retreat energy. There's a fire inside of you that says, I need to do this. But that comes during meditation. I don't believe that that moment comes from talking with someone else. I think it's a moment of deep self-reflection that you're like, this is what I want for me. I need to do this. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, I'm being told to keep them. Okay, so then we have the Sun, 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands, and the 5 of Swords. Okay, so Sun, happiness, enlightenment. Also, the Sun to me represents casting a bright light on some of the darkest shadows. It is full illumination. It's not just joy and happiness. It is full illumination. It is clarity because the sun shines so bright. It casts the light on all shadows. And in that casting of light, enlightenment under learning, we have 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands, and 5 of Swords. We have conflict. We have almost like a little bit of defensiveness. And we have a propensity of self-sabotage. That is not easy for me to say. But that is what's in the cards. The cycle that you might find yourself in when fully illuminated by the sun, casting light on the darkest shadows, is that in moments of conflict, you get defensive, and in ways that defensiveness is self-sabotaging whatever the conflict is about. So, having said that, what is the advice for those that are resonating? Man, these two readings back to back, demonstrative of the astrology that has been in place in the sky since last week, since May 16th, all the way up to now. I feel like the energy has been really heavy, very weighted and serious, and this reading sort of implies that, which is why I decided to do a 2-part reading. So, what is it that Spirit wants us to know on the full moon and the days following it? Oh my goodness, I keep almost dropping these cards, which makes me feel like there is a lot of energy ramping up. I almost feel like there's a little bit of a bottleneck happening, if I'm being honest. What does Spirit want the collective to know or understand about this full blue moon in Sagittarius on Sunday, May 31st? Well, that fell on the floor, so what falls on the floor comes to your door, right? Let's see what we got. So we have two cards. We have, sorry, I'm about to drop them. 8 of Wands and Queen of Wands. That is Spirit saying that there are messages coming from, like, the, from, how do I want to say this? The fiery divine feminine energy within you. Now, I know that's kind of not, like, I want to say non sequitur. That is not the word I want to use. I can't find the word. But is fiery in the sense that I might be specifically talking to the fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo, or because this Sagittarius full moon is fire, it is speaking messages to your divine feminine energy. And I'm not talking about gender, because everybody has feminine and masculine energy. It's speaking to the divine feminine energy with this fiery Sagittarius energy. What is it saying? What I feel like it's saying? It's saying trust in your intuition. This karmic cycle, this whatever way of thinking, this these patterns I'm hearing need to be burned away. When I said that this is a big karmic cycle ending, I'm hearing the messages that you may have been getting, dreams, maybe thoughts, maybe things popping up on your news feed, or you're looking into astrology, maybe you're looking into psychology. These cycles need to end. I'm hearing what's not meant for you will be spectacularly ripped away from you. I don't know why it came out like that. Trust your intuition. Let that, whatever that is, go. Let it go. Because it's actively hindering what you want, what you really want in life. Is it love? Is it true friendship and connection? Is it closeness with your family? Is it your ability to move up in the, your job, or to be self-employed? Whatever this cycle is, the illumination of when in conflict, you get defensive and self-sabotage. That is just one example, I feel like. It needs to stop. It needs to change. It's and we're in the year of the fire horse, which also, and I'm getting really, like, not agitated, but I'm getting very excited and worked up with this energy. This is how strong this full moon in Sagittarius energy is. It's about propelling you forward. I've described it before, where you are the arrow being put into a bow and being pulled back, drawn really far back. And we're going to go into, I believe, a Mercury retrograde soon. You're being pulled back to review all the things that you've learned and gone through. And when the time comes, that quiver will be loosed and the arrow will just, or not quiver, I'm sorry, but the arrow will be loosed and you will be catapulted forward, because it's where you're meant to be. You're meant to grow and change and be in alignment with what you want, what's happy, what's your happy. Sorry that I'm getting so, like, worked up, but this is like the fire energy I feel moving through me. Okay, so let's get some more messages from Spirit. Got two more. So then we have Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles I look at as the forever student. Again, we have learner up here. We have Page of Pentacles. That's earth and earth. That is the forever student. This is someone who is eager to learn, who's always hungry for knowledge, who genuinely enjoys the process of learning and utilizing the knowledge that they have acquired. Then we have Ace of Pentacles. So this is, with these two together, what this is telling me is this cycle that you went through, the cycles that you maybe perpetuate or someone you know perpetuates. You've learned, you've experienced, you've committed to memory what works and what doesn't work. You're learning every day how to navigate and get closer and closer to what makes you happy. Again, I'm hearing what doesn't serve you needs to be burned away. What doesn't serve you with this big, like, cosmic wheel, whatever's not meant for you is either A, you've asked for it, or B, it will be spectacularly ripped away from you because of the fact that it's this this energy of, at least for the collective that I'm connecting with right now, this energy of wanting so much for you to be in alignment to what makes you happy, but there is something that's blocking. When you learn it, you know how to create the opportunity to create that stability, to create your happily ever after, or your opportunities, or the life that you want to live. Okay, 2 more cards and then we'll close up this reading because it's probably a million minutes long. Last closing message from Spirit. We had one flip over. We'll honor it. 6 of Swords. And what else? King of Swords. 6 of Swords is about movement, about growth. This movement also could be like literal movement. You could be you could be packing boxes while you're watching this tarot read. About movement. Could be physical movement, new job, new apartment, new life, new state, new city, new country. But it also is about that inner journey. Growth. And I love that we go from 6 of Swords right into the King of Swords. This is understanding the truth of it all. Like pulling the negative emotions back and not letting them cloud your judgment. Not letting the worry or like anxiety, maybe even for some shame or sadness, pulling that back and recognizing the truth of the matter is I want to be able to be happy. I want to be able to live authentically. I want to be able to live in a life or a job or a home that's safe, secure, supportive, loving, abundant. Those are the truths that you are understanding about yourself. And the other things that you're understanding, especially since it's on this side, underneath this, is that there are certain cycles that do need to end. This is not something that is a surprise to you, but it is something that you're actively working on. And there's something about this weekend. I'm feeling it might be a little textured around Saturday the 30th, but come Sunday, and I'm feeling really strongly by Tuesday, June 2nd, by Tuesday when we have like a more grounded Capricorn energy in the astrology, I feel like almost like you can drop your shoulders and exhale because something is finally done. And you're well on your way to creating the happiness that you see for yourself, that you wish for yourself, and that you want for yourself. And that is the reading that I have for today. That was really intense, and I know it was like a 2-parter, but I didn't do last week. And normally I don't get on myself too much for missing a week because life be lifing sometimes. But I really felt it was necessary to do that 2-part reading. So if you're still here and you enjoy the way I read and you like my je ne sais quoi, please consider like, sharing, and subscribing, or putting like a little heart or like a little emoji in the comments to let me know that you watched it to this point. And I really, really appreciate you stopping by and supporting my tiny little channel. I'm doing my very best, and I love every one of you that comes in and listens and has subscribed and has shared your energy with me. It is an honor. This is Rabbit and Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I will see you at the next read.